Man, the NBA season is full of surprises. Zion Williamson gets suspended for being tardy. The Heat are excited to have Jimmy Butler return. I think I'm Rosa Panza. This is the Clinic All NBA podcast. I have the two hooligans with me. JJ, how you living, my friend?
Woo! Feeling good. I'm feeling great. We're back, baby. We are back.
She know she love Jay because
Just like Jimmy Butler, I'm back. John, how you living, my friend?
Oh, I'm feeling good. Let's go, guys. Back. The boys are back. Let's do it.
Detective John.
Boys, it has been a long time. I think the last time we potted it was at the beginning of the season, but we are back, boys, in the middle of the season almost. And the first thing I want to talk about is the NBA ratings. A few weeks ago, one of the big topics was the year-on-year decline of the NBA's ratings. A month into the season, the NBA ratings are down 28% on ESPN. Yesterday, Adam Silver commented the following: young people, they're watching an enormous amount of screen time, but not traditional television. It is videos on social media, certainly streaming by almost any measure. There has never been more engagement in the NBA than there is at this moment. And I'm not just talking about globally, but even domestically, people are consuming our games in different forms. So first of all, it's crazy that the NBA ratings are down, right? But I'm sure you guys have reasons why this should be. Do you guys feel like there's a point to what Adam Silver is saying, that people are just watching it on different forms?
Well.
This one is tough. Yes, I agree. I think they are watching it on different forms, but I also think that what else is Adam Silver going to say, right? You are the commissioner of the NBA. He's not going to say, oh yeah, our product is declining. I'm awful at my job. I don't know why the ratings are down, but they are, right? Like when asking dumb questions like that, I get it. It's a you have to ask the commissioner that type of question. But JJ, right? Like, what else is he going to say? And again, I think it's a combination of things. While I do agree with him, we're in different territory, different generation. Things are changing. Things are always evolving and adapting. But I also think there's part of the game. I don't know if things are diluted or if there's less focus on basketball from a technical standpoint, because I think there's a lot of argument and a lot of criticism surrounding that. Like when we used to watch back in the day, teams would run plays, they would really understand the game from a technical aspect, they would be students of the game, and I don't know if that's the case anymore. Jay, I mean, like, what do you think, Jay?
Okay, so I'm trying to think of all the reasons right now, John. Like, I know, like, the TNT crew, they're gonna blame all the threes, right? And it's not even like the amount of threes, it's the amount of threes that the NBA players are missing. Like a few weeks ago, we had, I think it was the Pistons, they were 10 for 60 on threes, like something insane like that.
Oh my God.
And I just want to give you it was something crazy like that.
That's unwatchable.
I could just be like quoting something just off right now. But the point being is that too many threes, man, right? Which I guess could be one thing. I always come back to they're taking away the fun of the game, like no celebrations. Like you're gonna give a tech when Anthony Edwards dunks on someone. Like trash talking is part of the NBA. That's why we love Kobe. That's why we love watching Jordan. That's why we love watching Magic and Larry Bird, because they knew how to talk smack. But I wanted to give you props, John, because you brought up a point that I feel that everyone else brought up when this conversation came up. Earlier in the before we started the pod, you actually mentioned about subscribing to a service to watch Laker games. And I think that's what's hurting the NBA. That's part of it. Like, can you like provide the listeners out there, like you as a paying customer, what you had to do to watch a Laker game?
Yeah, I mean, it's like really the gatekeeping on being able to watch your favorite team is kind of crazy, right? So I was talking to Jay and Ro earlier, and RJ, is that you have to, in order for you to watch a Laker game, because they have an exclusive contract with a provider, that you have to pay for their service. And before it was just cable. And everybody knows that cable is absolutely robbing you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so I'm not paying for cable, especially with streaming out there. So they recently offered a fraction of the price, $20, to actually just watch the games without paying for their cable service. And so I said, oh, that's awesome. I'll do that. And of course I do that, and I don't watch the games nearly as much as I should because I'm an idiot. But I digress. I mean, like, to your point, Jay, that's like it's like there's a lack of accessibility now in order to watch games, and I think that's also part of it. And again, I don't want to completely dismiss that as a valid point, because it is. I don't know, Ro, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, do you agree with Adam Silver? I don't know, man. I'm mixed.
I agree with Adam Silver to like a certain extent. I feel like this generation of people watching basketball, they only want to see the highlights. They only want to see the clips on YouTube, like the shortened version of the games and stuff like that. But I think the biggest thing is, to me, what JJ is talking about is the stuff that creates rivalries, the stuff that creates pride. And nothing gets me glued into a game like watching my team go against a team that I freaking hate. You know, like the Warriors facing off with the Grizzlies when the Grizzlies had Dylan Brooks. Like, those games were always really super tight. They were always really super physical. I can't name a lot of matchups now, especially with the teams that are doing well this year, right, that have true rivalries. I can't name one. Like, who is OKC's biggest rivalry right now?
That's true.
You know what I mean? Who are the Rockets' biggest rivalry right now? Like,
right.
These relationships could develop over time, but I feel like since Steph Curry and LeBron James, which is one of the oldest rivalries, right, in the league right now, when they're on TV, ratings go up specifically for that reason, I feel like. And plus, they're amazing basketball players. But go ahead, Jay.
No, like, I was just gonna say, like, how could even we have rivalries when our favorite players and all these superstars, they sit out too? Like,
like with rest.
With rest, like when you have Luka going against the Suns and Devin Booker, you turn on the TV and you realize, oh, Devin Booker can't even play because he's sitting out. It's just like, oh, that's disappointing. So, like, even from a fan that wants to consume the product and you invest time, you're not going to get anything back. But I do want to add one more point, gentlemen. I don't want to pivot. This is my reasoning that ratings are down, and I might be in the minority here, and this is probably a hot take, but I think it's the new CBA rules. I think this crap with how they're limiting all these teams that want to spend money and they can't because of the different taxes for each level, right? I think that's... I could go savage with my quote. I'll just say that it's not a form of government. It's like a, you know, when you're in a group at school and like everyone works hard, and then you have that one group member that says like, oh, I contributed, but they didn't really. Like, I think that's how the NBA is run right now. Like, you're awarding teams that don't want to spend money to be good, when you have teams, and I'll use our teams for example, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Clippers, and you know, all these affluent teams, they want to spend money, but they can't.
This is because the Warriors are 20-20, isn't it, JJ?
I knew he was gonna go
I
there.
know. I know.
No. Honestly, I think that's a good point. I think that goes back to the gatekeeping. I think there's a lot of things that they're putting in place to kind of restrict the product from being the best product that it can be. And the CBA, again, Jay, is a good point. That's one of the things. I want to come back to the things that you mentioned earlier about the lack of, I think there's just too much fraternizing in the NBA. There's too much friendship. Bro, you mentioned it. Jay, you mentioned it. There's no rivalries. Like, people like to watch stories. They like to watch like things evolve and things happen that go beyond basketball. And part of that narrative is the storylines, the Kobe's not liking, like Lakers and the Kings.
Right.
They were heated rivals, and they were like starting fights. And I'm not condoning violence by any sense. Everybody relax, take a step back, and continue sipping on your drink.
I'm just saying
though, like, part of that, it just adds to the allure of wanting to watch a basketball game, and there's just too much friendliness going on. Like, and I think we're in this day and age where a lot of people are just very sensitive, and that's partly why I think not just basketball, but a lot of sports you can make that case that they're becoming a lot more soft, right? They're not allowing like full contact, or they're doing things that kind of take away from the some people would say is that the pureness and the tradition of the game, and people miss that. I mean, I do. I think that a lot of that is gone from the game today, unfortunately. Even though there are a lot of things to like, there are a lot of things that I really miss. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, like the amount of entertainment from just the personalities back in the day, creating rivalries with the press, and having all these amazing quotes. I mean, like Shaquille O'Neal, calling the Sacramento Kings the Queens, like just like going after other teams like that, just made for pure entertainment. But anyway, listeners, we don't mean to bash the NBA on our second episode back.
Yes,
it's just something we feel like
we
needed to talk about, because right now ratings are down. This is the truth, and we want to figure out why, and that's what we were trying to discuss. I'm going to move us on to our next topic here. We want to talk about Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler returned to action tonight in their loss against the Denver Nuggets. Butler returned after being suspended 7 games for conduct detrimental to his team. Since being suspended, the Miami Heat have been trying to move Jimmy Butler, and after Butler requested a trade. Butler's agent, Bernie Lee, had this to say before the game. He said, "Shortly, I'm back." It said, and it was a bit copying from Michael Jordan's agent, David Falk, who announced, that Jordan was back after retirement in 1995. I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think about the whole Jimmy Butler saga? Also, Bernie Lee's letter posted on social media.
It always feels like, boys, that wherever Jimmy Butler is, the fans love him. They love his grit. They love his determination. They love what he does on the court and how he contributes to the game. But damn, this is like deja vu, John. I think we straight up said this, right? Like, didn't this happen in Chicago? Didn't this happen in Minnesota? Like, is this a common theme where Jimmy Butler just over welcomes himself in the locker room and he burns everyone out, and if he doesn't get his way, he makes a scene and then he demands a trade request? Is that like what I'm reading into this? Like, I love Jimmy Butler, but damn, third time's a charm, dude.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, the proof is kind of in the pudding. And I know granted, he does stay on his team for a decent amount of time. It's not as if he does this every single year or every 2 years, right? So given he is somewhat patient with the majority of the teams that he is on. But yeah, you're right, JJ. He does have a tendency to do this. And I will say this whole "I'm back" thing is as if he was coming back from the dead, or he's like was
Corny's talk.
The doctor said he would never play basketball again, and then he comes back like playing basketball.
Like his own team didn't prevent him from being back.
I know, like, come on, man. You were suspended for 7 games, excuse me. Like, this is just a little dramatic for me, but honestly, I still think, like, my overall thought on the situation is I think he's gone. I think we can all agree with that. I don't know if you all agree with that, but I don't think his time in Miami is going to be short-lived. I don't even think he's going to make it to the end of the season. I'd be shocked if he did.
Yeah, 100%. I also think that he's gone. I just don't know how they'll do it. Like JJ was saying earlier, with the new CBA, trades are a lot more difficult to make. But do you guys see a good landing spot for Jimmy Butler if he is traded?
JJ's thinking. Look, JJ's gonna say it. Say it. Don't say it.
We haven't talked about it, but you know, as much as Jimmy wants to go to any team, and as much as we feel that Jimmy would be a good fit on other squads, his cap and his salary request is insane. Like, who wants to pay 50 mil or over for an aging Jimmy Butler that's clearly past his peak?
Right.
I mean, he does bring that element where, you know, during the playoffs, he could provide that juice, that determination to win. But I mean, right now, the rumors is the Suns. Do the Suns want to give up Bradley Beal for Jimmy Butler? Like, I guess that's a good trade. I don't know why the Heat would want to get Bradley Beal. Does anyone want Bradley Beal for his no trade clause contract? I wouldn't.
No. Never. Always injured. Very average on defense, and that's being generous.
Generous and kind, dude.
Mm-hmm.
John, do you have a landing spot for Jimmy Butler?
Man, on the top of my head, honestly, I could see him like on a team like the Spurs.
Yeah.
I think he might.
That's
I could see him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like him on the
Nice.
Spurs, like hard nosed, gritty. Obviously, Popovich. I know he's having his health issues. Hopefully, best wishes to him, and hopefully that works out. But like their system in San Antonio is always about. He kind of embodies that type of player, and I think they could utilize him great, even though he is 35. So I would say the Spurs.
Yeah, I was thinking the Spurs as well, or maybe even like the Houston Rockets, something to elevate that team, get them kind of over that hump.
I like that.
Both of those teams, I mean, they have assets to trade, particularly like with draft picks, but just making the money work. I don't know how all that's gonna work, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with Jimmy Butler. Our next topic here, Zion Williamson. The Pelicans announced they have suspended Zion Williamson for 1 game after violating team policies. Zion was reportedly late to a Pelicans team flight to Philadelphia, which led to his suspension. So being late for a team flight, is this warranted, suspending a game for this? Or what do you guys think led up to this? I think there's more to it, right?
100%. You
Okay.
don't like
My like conspiracy theory hat just kind of falls on my head. Like, really, just for that? What do you think?
No, I don't think your conspiracy hat is on at all. Even though you do love the conspiracies over there.
Yes.
I agree with you. I think this is I don't want to say a front, but something else is going on behind the scenes. And obviously, he's doing other things that the team does not like, but they're using this as kind of I don't want to say showcase, but this is what they've released in terms of punishing him, right? Or giving him consequences. But I think there's more to this, whatever it may be. And honestly, I know we talked about Jimmy Butler having a short leash in Miami. I honestly think Zion might have a short leash in New Orleans.
I know a lot of teams that would love a Zion Williamson. JJ, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen with the Zion contract, where people are very cautious about it, the Pelicans did something pretty clever, where it's more incentive based, which is usually not heard of within NBA contracts, and that's more tailored to the NFL contract. So if it's incentive based, where he has to play a certain amount of games to get his cash flow, then the risk is a lot lower than any other contract. And therefore, that Zion Williamson contract, where people tend to think that it's bad because it's high, if it is indeed incentive based, and I've read that it is, then I mean, why wouldn't you take a risk on Zion? But then when you do read about motivation issues, I'm like thinking to myself, is this a situation because he's in New Orleans? Or is this the character of the NBA player? Is this Zion's character? And everyone's thinking, hey, it's just New Orleans, but I don't know, man. Like, it's this kind of alarming that they're trying to find a reason to suspend you, Zion. Right, John? Like, oh, this dude's late for a flight. They're finding a reason, and then they're releasing the news to Shams, which is basically they're publicly shaming him, like Cersei style, you know?
Yeah, like it got out for a reason.
Yeah,
right?
it got out for a reason. Shame.
Shit.
How late do you think you have to be?
Oh, you get like egregiously late.
Like 2 hours late?
Well, no, I don't. 2 hours. I'd be like, yo, start up the plane. We're leaving this dude up in the city, man. I want to say like at least 30 minutes.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And honestly, like my last gripe about this, I hate when like these famous people, these wealthy athletes, famous people are like do stupid stuff like this. Being late to your flight. I mean, does he have a driver? Can he like what is he so busy with that he can't make his team flight?
You're not in LA traffic, homie.
I know, man.
Or
Come on.
Yeah.
You don't live in Queens going to JFK at New York.
Was it Shaq that said he's been spending a lot of time on the court? He was talking about the malls.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You caught me there.
Next topic, I want to talk about the biggest surprises of this season so far. I have it broken up into two parts. First, I have the Knicks being at 27 and 16 after they acquire Karl Anthony Towns. I have the Rockets, who are surging at 27 and 13. The Pistons, surprisingly, 21 and 20. Last year at this point of the season, they were 3 and 37. The Suns, who are 20 and 20 with their superstar-studded team. Which one of these are the biggest surprise to you this season?
Wow, this is actually a good list because I feel like when I thought about it initially, there's a clear one on here, and it's because you put in the parentheses they were 3 and 37 last year. Thank you for that little added touch there, because that makes it look way better. But I'm gonna go with the less obvious choice. I'm gonna go with the Suns at 20 and 20, 500. I mean, like, I get that they've had injuries, but a team that talented should not be 20 and 20. And I'm having PTSD flashbacks of like the Lakers, Dwight Howard, Kobe, Pau Gasol, and Steve Nash, like of how mediocre that team was. And honestly, I'm gonna go with the Suns because I think they should be way better than 20 and 20. Are they even in the playoffs? I don't have the standings in front of me, but are they even in the top 10?
So currently, let's see here. JJ, go ahead. I'll find this.
Oh, for my surprise, I mean, John kind of touched on the Pistons already. They won the last 9 of 11, but I'm super surprised about the Rockets. Who would have thought, John, that the Rockets, if I told you, hey, John, midseason, Rockets will have the same record as the Celtics, who are the returning champs, I think you would ask if I was on drugs. But Rockets, man, like, they're up and coming. Their players are they're young. We've used this word a lot in today's pod. They play with grit. And they're not afraid, man. Like, the other night I saw Jalen Green talking a lot of smack to Russell Westbrook, which was pretty hilarious. And I don't know if you guys saw that clip, but I guess like Jalen Green got fouled by Russell Westbrook, and Jalen Green was like, don't do that. And Russell Westbrook was like, "Is this fool trying to talk to me like that? This kid over here? This kid was on my AAU team."
AAU team,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah, I saw
remember
that.
So I thought that was hilarious, man.
One thing I agree with you, Jay. One thing I will say before I turn it over to you, bro, and get your thoughts on this is that the Rockets, though, like the reason why they're less surprising to me this year is because last year they lost Sengun, right? He lost. He was out for the year, and they were still 500, 41 and 41. So I think that Rockets team was always, to me, like they had the pieces and they were going to improve. And honestly, just outside of Ime Udoka's, outside of his basketball activities, extracurricular activities, he's a great coach, right? Like,
Yeah.
he took the Celtics, you know, as far as, I mean, obviously they didn't win it, but like, and so, dude, Jalen Green is balling. I will say that he is absolutely balling,
Yeah.
and I gotta give him a shout out because he's what is he half Filipino?
Yeah.
All my
He is.
Filipino brothers out there, let's go.
Yep.
All right, bro, let's get. What are your thoughts?
By the way, John, the Phoenix Suns are currently 10th in the Western Conference.
Okay, so they're in the plan.
They're in the plan. The Houston Rockets. I wish this team didn't have Dylan Brooks because then I would like them a lot more. But I will say defensively, they're a monster, right? I think they're top five in defensive rating. I'm not sure exactly, but
I think
what's
they're
surprising
top three.
about them is that on offense, I think they're like bottom 10. They're not even that great at offense. They haven't even figured out that part, even with Jalen Green, even with a surging Amon Thompson. Amon Thompson has been so good this year. Like defensively, he's just like a pest. Sengun, like you said, is getting healthier every day. It's a really fun team to watch. So I'm with you, JJ, on that one. I think I'm gonna go with that as one of the biggest surprises this season. Now the next set I have for the biggest surprise of the season for you guys to pick off of. The first one is Russell Westbrook's resurgence in Denver. Mike Brown's firing as Kings head coach. JJ's laughing at that one. He had success, okay? He got that team pretty far in the playoffs, sort of. Or the last one, the success of LiAngelo Ball's song Tweaker. Which one is the biggest surprise?
Well, we can keep this short because I think all three of us collectively can say that LiAngelo Ball's song Tweaker is not just the surprise of this episode, but the surprise of the last century.
Yes, and he just signed a record deal
Yeah.
with, I think it was Def Jam or Interscope for 11 million.
Def Jam. I think it was
It's
8 million.
So crazy. 8 million. Thank you.
So,
Do you guys rock that song? Do you guys like it?
okay. I might get blasted for this, but I think the song is catchy. I don't think it's a good song by any means, but I think I can understand why teams would play it pre-game, post-game. It does kind of like, it can hype up someone or a crowd, and so I see the allure for it. But I don't think it's a good song. I don't think there's a lot of good lyricism, or I think the beat is catchy. I'll say that. And this contract or this signing with Def Jam or whatever label he signed with, is it about the music, or is it the fact that in our day and age when something becomes viral, when it gets a lot of momentum, they're going to take advantage of that. They're going to build onto that momentum, whether it's short term or long term. And they realize LiAngelo Ball, he's the son of a very controversial figure, knowing that there's going to be a lot of eyes on that, right? So to me, it's less about the music and more about the fact that they know that this is going to have some traction, whether or not the songs are good or not. And quite frankly, I don't think the song is that good.
Sounds like a wannabe Saint Lunatics Nelly song.
Did I go hard? I'm like, was that too harsh? I feel like I'm blasting basketball.
No, you said it's catchy, which it is.
It's
It's
catchy.
catchy. Yeah.
Like to add on to what John was saying, so-called marketing genius LeVar Ball happened to release his shoe, and claimed that it was the best low top shoe of all time right after his son signed that deal. So, I mean, I'll give the dad props that he's still marketing a shoe that almost ruined his son's career. Baby B.
Yeah.
BBB, triple B's.
Triple B.
Would you guys say that LiAngelo Ball's song "Tweaker" is the greatest song to be released by an NBA player?
No, absolutely
Is
not.
LiAngelo Ball an NBA player?
I mean, he sort of was, right?
I mean,
he's made some
technic-
teams technically.
Technically, okay.
Like he's been on two-way contracts or something, or
Okay,
like a 10-day, right?
Right. Okay, that's fair. Sorry, we're getting into the very like technically.
I mean, I'm interested in what JJ's about to say. He said no pretty fast.
No,
No,
I'm sure you have
Dame.
an example.
Dame.
But could
Dame
we
Dollar.
name a Dame song?
Dame is second. I respect that though.
That's true. We can't name a Dame song. That's right. Okay,
I'm-
you're talking about
my
a
number
song, like
one-
a single.
Is
Yeah.
your boy John and Shaq.
No, it's not.
Shaq, as a hip hop artist, for his first album, had few Schnickens. He had
Oh, that's
tracks
right.
with
Okay.
RZA. He had remixes with DJ Premier. Like, Shaq
Okay.
actually had very good producers, man. I know
Okay.
you want to say Kobe because you like that Kobe song with Destiny's Child. So
That song. No, that song was pure trash, man. Nah.
Listeners, if you haven't heard that song, please bring it up.
play it up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring us to our next topic here. I want to talk about in the last game between the Warriors and the Raptors, a young fan was brought onto the court pre-game, and this was in Toronto. And this young fan was originally wearing a Steph Curry jersey, but was told to remove his Warriors jersey in exchange for a Toronto Raptors t-shirt. And this is because he was being brought onto the court, okay? Now thinking, if you're in the mind of maybe a Toronto Raptor fan, okay? Is this a dub or a dud? I want you to think about being a fan of the Raptors.
Go ahead, John.
Somehow, I know there's no mention of Drake in here, but somehow this is Drake's fault.
It's definitely his idea.
It was definitely his idea.
Yeah.
He said, "Yo, either get a new kid or take off that kid's shirt." I guess I get it, but like it's a kid, man. Like I feel like if it was like an adult or a grown man, then maybe you could be like, "Hey, no, we're not. You know, we're trying to promote the Raptors because it's a Toronto home game." But like a kid making him take off his shirt, like, come on, man, what are we doing? Just a kid, and trust me, like the 11 Raptors fans in attendance aren't gonna care. Sorry, shout out Canada. I love Canada. My sister-in-law lives in Canada. I'm nothing against the country, but you know, I'm just saying this is a little petty. That's my thought. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
Jay.
absolutely petty. Like, hey kid, take off that jersey that cost what, $150, or Canadian money, it's like 180, 190, and then I'm gonna give you a free crappy cotton t-shirt of the team that you
Fair.
don't even like. Like, the only
Yeah.
reason that I'll give some slack, one, like what you said, John, like you're gonna get a kid to showcase during this break on TV, but at least like you couldn't be like more in tune, or to pick maybe a kid that's wearing Raptors gear instead
Right.
of forcing a kid
Pick a different kid.
pick a damn different kid, okay?
There's probably 100 of them.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess I'll
No.
give. Go ahead.
There's only 11 in attendance, so you don't have maybe they had a minimal selection. Go ahead, Jay.
Maybe, but John, I'm gonna say this. What's sad is that I can't even get that mad at the Toronto Raptors because that doesn't even equate to what the Charlotte Hornets did, about that one poor kid that won the PS5,
Oh no.
and then when the cameras turned off, they like bait and switch and gave him like something else.
That's right.
Wait, what
Yeah.
happened? I did not see this. What happened?
So like I guess like this kid during halftime won a PS5 and it was like shown on like the TV screen. Oh, like
Okay.
Charlotte Hornets, like this kid won a PS5, and then they when the cameras turned off,
Okay.
they took the video game console away from him, the PS5 away from him, and they gave him another gift that he didn't want, like a $100 gift. So then all the
Oh.
fans started to reach out and started petitioning. Thanks to RJ, he has it up on the screen for our viewers out there. But yeah, the Hornets they actually came back and they felt bad after all the fans cried out loud about it and said, that's so foul. Like, hey, this multi-billion-dollar company that depends on fandom gives
So-
their fan.
Yeah. No,
Motivated
sorry,
switch.
Jay, to interrupt. So apparently it was like a skit. It was supposed to be a skit for just the cameras. The kid comes on, and then their mascot Hugo gives is a Hornet. Yeah, he's a Hornet. Gives the kid the PS5, and then when the kid went to the backstage, a staffer took the PS5 away from the kid.
And
I
gave
think
him a jersey.
they ended up giving it the PS5 and like VIP tickets after the fact because of all of the criticism and all of the hate that they were getting. But like I'm not like, to me that's just whack. One, to do that. Two, I get that like you're not making a lot of money because your average attendance is like 3 at a Hornets game these days. So PS5 $500 is expensive. Sorry, I'm hating on a lot of people, a lot of teams, a lot of
Good.
sports this episode.
Bring it.
We're losing something. I'm sorry, fellas, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just really, really whack. What's up with the kids, man? Why are you treating kids like this, dude? Making them take off the jerseys, not giving them PS5s. What's next?
I don't believe that it was a skit. I don't believe it. I bet you the PR
No.
person was like, this is the only excuse that we can come up with is that it was a damn skit. And we had to take away the PS5 because it was part of the skit. Like, I don't believe it, dude. I think they royally messed up. But that's funny. My opinion on this whole Steph Curry thing is exactly what JJ was saying, is that why couldn't you find a different fan? Like, there can't be one kid in that whole arena like John claims.
Maybe
There's
John
11
Roto,
people.
Jen. Maybe there is just one kid.
There's no way. There's
No,
no way,
yo.
dude.
You're better off pulling Drake on the middle of the court or something,
Seriously.
dude.
Oh my god. All right, guys. Well, that's all we have for tonight's show. I want to thank you two for being on. JJ, thanks for being on, man.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you all.
She know she love Jay because
John, thanks for being on, man.
Always a pleasure. Hey, we gotta do this more consistently, fellas. And
Yes.
and listen, like, I know it's Sammy's fault, but if we gotta, I'm just playing Sammy. Miss you, dude. Come back to the next episode.
Detective John.
Shout out to the homie Sammy.
Sammy takes it all the way.
And shout out to our video producer, RJ. Check out our YouTube channel. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Like us on our Facebook group page, The Clinic All NBA Podcast, and follow us on Twitter at Clinic All NBA. I'm Rosa Panta. This is The Clinic All NBA Podcast. Come find us wherever you get your podcasts.